What's up and welcome to the channel. My name is Hagshot and thank you guys for joining us for a comparison on the P320 RX to the Glock 19 MOS. And we're going to talk about everything today. We're going to compare and contrast the two, talk about advantages and disadvantages of both of them, pros and cons, specs, shooting, and basically which pistol offers you the best bang for your buck. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this comparison. Optics have become very popular on handguns, competition shooting, home defense, even concealed carry. So there are a lot of great reasons to have an optic on a pistol, and these are two of the finer examples that you can find out there. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll show you what they come with out of the box. If you guys want to check out any holsters, gun belts, patriotic gear, our Patreon, and support us in any other way, more than what you guys already do, just check out the links down below. We appreciate everything you guys do. So let's go ahead and get started with the P320 RX. You're going to get a bunch of paperwork. You're going to get info about Lucas, gun oil, and things like that. You'll get info about the Romeo sight, manual. You're going to get a lock. You're going to get a sample of that Lucas oil. You're going to get the gun. Two 15-round magazines. All right, this is the 9mm version. The gun is going to come with the Romeo optic, which is pretty awesome. And there's your other magazine. We'll go ahead and get this box out of the way, clear up some space here, and show you what the Glock 19 comes with. Glock 19 MOS. Open it up. So you're going to get the plates. I didn't bring the plates out here. I didn't see a reason to. We're not going to be doing anything with the plates, but you're going to have 4 plates so you can mount different types of optics. There's quite a few optics you can actually put on here. And then you're also going to have a cover plate. A set of screws comes with it with the Allen wrench and all that. Manual. You're going to get a cleaning brush with the rod right here. Don't have the cleaning brush out here, but it is something it comes with. You're going to get 3 15-round magazines with the 19. All the Gen 4s come with 3 magazines except for the 42 and 43, so that's a bonus right there. You're also going to get there a little assist loader. All right, it's plastic. It's kind of junky, but it does come with it. If you don't have one, they come in handy for sure. And then you're going to get a set of back straps. So the medium configuration, I forget how they actually say. It's like a Gen 3 RTF something. I don't know. It's pretty much the medium configuration though. And then you're going to have a small and a large, and then the ones with the beaver tails. That's something the P320 does not come with, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. So let's go ahead and get the unloaded magazine in the gun and put these away. All right, so we showed you what they come with right out of the box. Let's go ahead and talk about the specs here really quick. On the P320 RX, overall length is 7.2 inches. Overall height with the optic is 6.1 inches. The width on this one is 1.4 inches. Barrel length 3.9 inches. And unloaded weight is 25.8 ounces. On the 19, they're pretty close here. Overall length 7.2 inches. Height 4.99 inches. So right at 5 inches. That's without the optic. I measured it with this optic and it's right under 6 inches. The width is 1.1 inches. All right, so it's a little bit skinnier than the P320. That's pretty normal. The barrel length is right over 4 inches. I mean, barely. And then the unloaded weight is 23.6 ounces. That is without an optic though. All right, so in comparison, when we just look at them, you can see the P320, we're doing slide to slide. We're not counting this little bit of beaver tail there. But you can see the Glock 19 is actually just a little bit longer. It's really just that, just the barrel that sticks out right there. And then if we put them on their backs, it's going to be a little bit weird because of the optics. But we're going to put them on the edge of the table here, and that'll kind of give you a good idea of how much taller the P320 is. Not much at all. It might make a little bit of a difference inside the waistband, but not a huge difference. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the features on the P320. Front and rear slide serrations. All right, so if you want to do your press checks, you have those right there. One thing I didn't mention, I'm gonna go ahead and take this off. You do get a little cover for the Romeo. You have a 1913 style Picatinny rail. All right, squared off trigger guard that is serrated here in the front. You have a little bit of an undercut in the trigger guard right there. As far as for my preference, I think the P320 feels great in the hand. You have this little bit of a beaver tail, and it sits just high enough up over your hand. You don't have to worry about slide bite or any of that. We'll go ahead and get the high bore axis crap out of the way. Some people don't mind it, like me. I don't think it makes that much of a difference, but some people hate it. So that's just going to be your personal preference, but I don't mind it at all. Magazine release, it is reversible. The gun is ambidextrous as far as the slide stop, so left-handed shooters, you can configure this to work out pretty well for you. The magazine release works well. The magazines don't just pop right out of there, but they fall freely enough so that won't be a problem. If you do get anything stuck in the magazine well, you have these little lips right here, little tabs. It's kind of cut out there, so you can get your finger in there and yank that magazine out. On the back strap here, you have a little hole so you can put a lanyard there if you need to. The front texturing on the front strap and pretty much all the way around the gun, these little squigglies all the way around, and they do a pretty decent job of keeping the gun locked into your hand for sure. We talked about the slide stop right there. You can use that as just a slide stop, or if you want to drop the slide with that, you can do that as well. So it's functional both ways. You see this little bit of a raised area around the slide stop. This is one of the improved versions of this grip module, and also the slide stops themselves have been redesigned. The old ones were kind of canted back towards your hand, so people were having trouble hitting that, you know, while they were shooting the gun and all that. Also, the takedown lever has been cut down a little bit, so it's more low profile and flush to the frame, which I really like. On this gun, one huge advantage that you have is you have the suppressor height SIG light night sights that come with the gun. So they're going to co-witness with the Romeo optic. There's a little notch in the rear, so it's going to perfectly co-witness with that optic, which is, you know, in my opinion, is pretty awesome. Extractor right there. We're going to talk about the triggers after the shooting part of the review. But as far as the main features, that's pretty much what they come with. There's no cover plate that comes with this gun. Since it does come with the optic, it does not come with a cover plate. It doesn't come with any additional plates. So that's something you'll have to be mindful of. It's got a 3 MOA dot. This is CNC machined magnesium housing. It is waterproof, CR 1632 battery. And one of the coolest things about this is when it sits idle for more than 2 minutes, that optic is going to automatically shut off. Once you pick it up, it gets to a certain orientation, the optic automatically comes on. So you don't have to worry about turning it off or anything like that. You have your windage adjustments right here. Windage and elevation, I should say. And then you have this button over here, which is going to adjust your brightness level on the dot. Also, you can press and hold them, and that's going to shut the optic off and all that kind of stuff. So pretty nice optic, I think. It's got a wide field of view for your eyes, and the dot itself is pretty clean. So I like this whole setup, and the fact that it comes with it, that's pretty awesome. I don't know that there's any other gun that comes with an optic right from the factory. Now, in the states where you have to have the 10 rounds, you can get those available, but otherwise 15 round, 17 round, and 21 round magazines are available for the 9mm version. On the Glock 19, you're going to have the proprietary Glock rail system, which doesn't seem to be a problem with most aftermarket weapon-like companies and all that. Squared off trigger guard that is serrated in the front. You have more of an undercut in the trigger guard than what you do on the SIG. And to be honest with you, it does make quite a bit of difference. You can definitely get your hand higher up on the gun. Lower bore axis, which again doesn't mean much to me, but you can get your hand high up on this gun for sure. Finger grooves in the front, something you don't have on the SIG. I prefer this setup. The finger grooves don't really bother me a whole lot, but I just prefer not having them there at all. Basically what you have on this gun is these little different style squares, rectangles, whatever you want to call them, pyramids, and you know, they do a decent enough job of keeping the gun locked into your hand. Back here you have your little channel so you can interchange your back straps. I'm not going to do that right now, but you just push this pin out and you slide your new back strap up into that channel. Pretty self-explanatory. On the magazine itself, the magazine button is reversible. It's the larger magazine button because this is the Gen 4, so that's pretty great. The P320, those magazines fall out better than what the Glock 19 does, but they still, both guns have a decent setup as far as that. This one is not nearly as responsive as the P320 is. Sometimes you'll get them stuck like that. If you have your hand at any kind of a cant, you're going to get that effect. On the slide stop, it is not ambidextrous. A lot of left-handed shooters say they just work around that anyways because, you know, a lot of guns do not have that feature. But some guys really want that feature, so that's just something you have to keep in mind, whatever your preference is. The magazine button is reversible. We talked about that. You have the 2 takedown notches here. They're low profile. I like that a lot. One thing about the Glock 19 is it's very simple. All right, you're going to get a basic gun, and then from there you're going to have to do your upgrades. So you're going to get a basic cover plate, and then you have to put your plate to match your optic. I went with the Burris Fastfire 3. It's an affordable option, and it seems to be a good optic. All right, you're going to have your control over here so you can turn it on, and then you have your elevation and your windage right there. Same type of top loading battery so you can get to it quickly if you need to. Not as wide of a field a view, obviously, compared to the Romeo. You have a much narrower window on the Burris, but again, that depends on what type of optic you go with. This one is a 3 MOA dot as well. All right, but otherwise, the gun's going to come with plastic sights. Now, this is something that kind of bugs me. They are not suppressor height sights either. So you just get a regular set of sights on a gun designed to work with an optic. Even if it was the regular U-notch style, drop in the bucket type of Glock sights, I would have been okay with that if they were at least suppressor height so they could co-witness with an optic. But they don't come with that, so that's, you know, again, something you're going to have to keep in mind. Your plates are going to cover a wide range of optics, though. You're going to, you know, have the plate for the Burris Fastfire, which isn't listed, but it will work. Trijicon, Seymour, Doctor, EOTech, and a whole lot more. So you have a lot of options. On this gun, as far as what I know, it's milled for the Romeo and the Romeo only. This gun is milled for a lot more options for sure. This gun actually comes in multiple calibers as well. You're going to have the 17, the 19, the 34, 35, 40, and 41 in various calibers. So you can it's kind of apples for apples, but not really because all the guns are different sizes. Back here you have your slide serrations only in the rear on this gun. They do a pretty good job when you have the optic on the gun. It makes it a little bit different, but to be honest with you, I kind of like it. You don't want to pull directly from the front of the optic like that, but if you grab over the top of it, you get a pretty good bite into your hand, not only from the serrations, but from the optic itself. You just don't want to put too much pressure on that. The P320 is the same way. Both guns, if you have any kind of weak dexterity or anything in your hands, both of them are very easy to manipulate and work the slide, so that's a bonus for sure. Let's go ahead and show you how they break down, and then we will get to some shooting. On the Glock, probably the simplest gun to break down. You're going to want to make sure it's clear, pull the trigger, cheat back on the slide just a little bit, and let it ride home. You're going to get a dual captive recoil spring. It is polymer. And then you have your barrel, striker block. You guys have seen this 100 million times. Here's your frame right here. Pretty standard, okay? On the P320, you don't have to pull the trigger. Rotate this lever down. On the RX, this thing is kind of tight. Rotate it down. It's going to come off. You're going to, again, get a dual captive metal guide rod and spring assembly. There's your barrel. You can see the little bit of difference there in the barrels. Not much, but you know, it does make a little bit of a difference. Striker block. And then one thing on the P320, one of the big selling points is if you want to change the frames out, now you can do that with a very simple takedown. So the way these come, most of the P320s will come with the medium configuration on the grip module. You can change it to a small or a large. You can change colors, whatever you want to do. For 50 bucks, you can replace these very easily. So let's go ahead and drop this back in. Again, it's easy to do. unlike a gun we have recently reviewed. If you want to check that out, you can. But it is nothing like the P320. They made it very simple. Anybody can do this. Drop the barrels back in, and most of the time you won't have a problem if you do it the right way. That's going to go in like that. Back on. Glock, just as easy. Everybody has pretty much copied this design now, but what a great design it is. It's easy and it works. Alright, so there we go. Alright, so we showed you all the features and all that kind of stuff. Let's see how they shoot, and then we will go over pros and cons and which one we think you get the best bang for your buck. We'll see you guys in a minute.
Was that our white can?
Yeah. All right, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Both guns are amazing shooters. Let's go ahead and show you the triggers and the weight on the triggers here really quick. On the P320, no kind of dingus or anything like that. A little bit of a curve to it. You hit a wall and it breaks. Boom, just like that. Very short travel, reset, and it goes again. Very nice trigger on the P320. On the Glock, it is no slouch either. You got a little bit of take up here, a little bit of creep, and it breaks, and the reset, boom, right there, and you're ready to go again. As far as the weight on the triggers, Glock estimates all their triggers at 5.5. Try to get it straight. 4 pounds, 14 ounces. This one has quite a few rounds to it for sure. 4 pounds, 8 ounces, so under 5 pounds. That seems pretty light, to be honest with you. 4 pounds, 14 ounces. So the Glock has a great trigger on it. I don't see any need to modify that. It does what it needs to do. On the P320, it's going to be a little bit heavier. 6.5. And 6 pounds, 2 ounces. One thing about the P320 trigger though is it does not feel like 6 pounds. It is so crisp and clean. Shooting with the optics, that's going to take a little bit of work. If you've never done that, it seems like it would be easier, and in some cases it is. Whenever you're doing like precision shooting, whenever we're shooting the plates, it's much easier to hit with this than it is the 3-dot setup. But up close and getting really good groups, I do better with the irons right now. It just takes a little bit of work, but once you get quick with one of these optics, man, you can really be spot on with them. As far as recoil, both guns, I'd call it pretty much equal. This one's a little bit heavier, so it seems to suck up that recoil a little bit more, but both guns just shoot great. I mean, you just have to get them in your hands. If you're a new shooter or experienced shooter, I think both guns do a fantastic job. We haven't had hiccups with either one of them, you know, and you'd kind of expect that. You know, shooting it's kind of a draw when it comes to that. Now, the big thing, pros and cons of each. Let's go ahead and talk about the P320. It comes with the optic. It comes with the suppressor height night sights that co-witness with the optic for under $800. And I purposely left out the amount that we paid until the end of the video because this is a big one. We actually picked this gun up for $749 plus a $20 transfer, but you get all of this for under $800. That is huge. Your interchangeable modules, if you live in a restrictive type of state, you can take this 9mm and you can turn it into a 40 Smith & Wesson competition pistol, or, you know, 357 SIG, or whatever you want to do. You could take this one and turn it into a subcompact. If you want to do that, you can do all of that with one gun, one serialized gun. To a lot of people, that's a pro, and I think it's pretty awesome too. Amazing trigger and just an amazing all-around shooter. The upgrades to the little slide stop that they've made and to the takedown lever, I think are really great. This used to be really gaudy looking and it used to stick out from the frame, but they've cleaned it up. Otherwise, it's a fully ambidextrous pistol, or it can be whenever you reverse the magazine release. I guess you can't say fully ambidextrous, but it's about as close as you can get without having a ambi magazine release. So one of the best shooting guns on the market, in my opinion. I've said that many times. Overall look, feel, function, everything on this gun is just great. SIG light night sights work great in the day and at night. There's a lot of great things with the P320 for sure. All right, on the Glock 19, as far as pros, you get multiple mounting plates, so you're not stuck with the one optic. If for whatever reason you don't like that one, you can switch it out to whatever you want. You also get the cover plate, which makes it look a little bit better. As far as just nothing functional, it just looks better aesthetically with the cover plate if you don't want to use an optic, or if you need to save up or whatever. The aftermarket support for the Glock, you can do whatever you want with these guns. You can make it whatever. That is definitely a pro. It's definitely a thinner gun for inside the waistband if you're considering carrying one of these guns. We did show you this earlier, but it definitely does make a difference inside the waistband. So, you know, if that means something to you, if you think you might want to carry this gun, That's going to be up to you. And then it comes with 3 magazines. You know, that's a big deal. That's an extra 40 bucks that you don't have to spend right there. So a lot of good things with the Glock as well. Some of the cons, one thing I've noticed with the Gen 4 is the slide scratches up very easily. I haven't carried this gun a whole lot anyways, but it just seems to scratch up very easily. Also, the fact that it comes with stock sights. You know, you'd figure they'd be suppressor height when you're talking about a gun that's supposed to be optics ready. It's a huge con in my book anyways. And the gun's going to be more expensive. When I priced this gun out, the base gun was $585. The sights were $150, so you're already over $700 at that point. And then the Burris Fastfire 3 was another $200. So you're talking about almost $1,000 in a Glock 19 compared to $750 for the P320. That's a huge, huge difference. Now, for the base gun of $585, you can start it off, you know, with the base gun, and then piece out your sights and piece out your optic if that's something you want to do. But it's going to be more expensive in the long run. And keep in mind, that's with a cheaper optic on here. You can get $500 and $600 Trijicons. You can even get up to $700 on some of these red dots. So more expensive in the long run, you know, and definitely some cons to go along with it. There's also some other things, you know, with the Glock itself that I've talked about in the past, but just comparing the two guns, those are the main cons that I've seen. But that doesn't mean that there isn't cons with the P320. There definitely is. No backstrap option. So if your hands are bigger or smaller, you have to spend another 50 bucks just to replace a grip module. To me, that is definitely a con. No option to mount other optics, even though it's awesome, it comes with it. It's definitely at a great price. If you don't like this optic, there's not a lot you can do with it. You're just going to have to kind of deal with it at that point. No cover plate, so if you want to take the optic off, you're just going to have to deal with it exposed. Not a big deal functionally, but again, it just looks bad. And then it only comes with 2 magazines. Normally that's not a con, but compared to the Glock 19, which comes with 3, that definitely is. So now the question is which gun is better? Which one gives you the best bang for your buck? The Glock 19 is like any other Glock. You get a base gun and you just upgrade it from there. But the lack of the suppressor height sights, giving you a regular set of sights on the gun, kind of gives the edge to the P320. You're going to spend a little bit more right off the bat, but you're going to get a gun that is ready to go. They've thought everything through. A great shooter. I think it's a better shooter than the 19. I'm more accurate with it. Miss Headshot is more accurate with it. Don't get me wrong, this is an amazing gun. It really is, but it ain't $1,000 worth of gun right here. You know, thinking back on it, you know, everything's in hindsight at this point, but $1,000, almost $1,000. It really was. It was I think it came out to $985 for everything on this gun. And that's one of the cheap optics. Again, like I said before, you have a much better gun in the P320 for a lot less money. Both guns are awesome, but if I were to put my money on one, I'd go with the P320. Of course, I want to hear what you guys have to say. If you have one or both of the guns, or if you're looking at either gun, which one you like more and why. We will see you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.